Old lead bottom. Binghamton was currently in a state that could best be described as controlled atmospheric re-entry. He was vibrating. Garter belts, Carpenter? Binghamton shrieked, waving a crumpled manifest at his long-suffering aide, Lieutenant Elroy Carpenter. The nurses need garter belts. And I am the commanding officer of a naval base, not a haberdasher. Tell the supply officer to snap to it. Shake a leg. Do whatever people do with legs in garter belts. Carpenter adjusted his glasses nervously. Sir, I think the supply officer is busy, but that's not the worst of it. I just got a message from a pal of mine at Confleet. Admiral Rafferty is arriving today on a sneak inspection. The color drained from Binghamton's face, replaced instantly by a sickly, translucent green. Iron Pants Rafferty? Coming here? Today? He looked around his office. The sinks were backing up. The Petty Officers Club smelled like a fermented distillery, and his best combat unit, the crew of the PT-73, was currently likely engaged in something highly illegal, involving pineapples and fermented sugar. I'm sick, Binghamton declared, clutching his stomach. My stomach acid could start a car, Carpenter. I can feel a major, career-saving illness coming on. A devious light sparked in his eyes. If I'm sick, I can appoint an acting base commander. And who better to face the wrath of Iron Pants than that pirate, McHale? When Rafferty sees the state of this island under McHale's command, he'll court-martial the whole lot of them, and I'll be sitting pretty in a hospital bed with a clean record. Brilliant, sir, Carpenter chirped. Absolutely brilliant. Binghamton collapsed onto a makeshift cot. I'm dying, Carpenter. Call the medic. Call McCauley. Tell him the burden of command is his. Chapter 2. The Acting Commander. Commander Quentin McCauley was a man who viewed naval regulations as vague suggestions. When he was summoned to Binghamton's deathbed, he found the captain groaning with the theatricality of a Shakespearean actor. McHale. Binghamton gasped. I'm in bad shape. The doctors, they don't know. I have to appoint an acting base commander. It's you. McHale blinked. Me, Captain? I'm a saltwater skipper. I'd be no good behind a desk. What about Carpenter? He's practically a desk with legs. Carpenter is a boob. Binghamton yelled, momentarily forgetting his near-death state before subsiding into a moan. It's an order, and I'm appointing Ensign Parker here as your acting executive officer. Ensign Charles Parker, a man whose primary combat skill was accidental self-sabotage, beamed. Oh boy, did you hear that, Skipper? Acting exec, I won't let you down, Captain. I know, Binghamton muttered. Now get out, all of you. I need to suffer in silence. As soon as they left, McCauley sighed. Well, boys, the captain wants us to run the base. Let's run it the 73 way. Within hours, Taratupa transformed. The rigid military structure dissolved into a relaxed, island-style paradise. The Petty Officers Club sinks were still backed up, but no one cared because the hula dancers had arrived. Chief Gruber had organized a shindig, and the air raid shelter was currently being used to store several crates of medicinal champagne and a troop of hula girls who were waiting for the evening's festivities. However, the peace was shattered when the lookout signaled, Iron Pants on the horizon. Parker, hide the girls. Clear the booze, McHale shouted. The Admiral is here. The arrival of Admiral Rafferty was like a cold front hitting a tropical storm. He marched off his plane, eyes narrowed. McHale? Why are you in command? Where is Binghamton? He's in the hospital, sir, McHale said, saluting with suspicious crispness. Combat fatigue. Very tragic. He's in Ama. Rafferty snorted. We'll see about that. Lead the way. I want a full inspection, starting with the air raid shelter. What followed was a frantic game of hide-and-seek. Parker led a group of hula girls through the back of the laundry, while McHale distracted the Admiral with a technical explanation of a palm tree. At one point, Binghamton, unable to resist the urge to see McHale fail, sneaked out of the hospital in a seaman's uniform to spy. He ended up getting trapped in a closet with a nurse and an angry Admiral who thought Binghamton was a hallucinating lunatic. Binghamton! Rafferty roared when he finally caught the captain in his underwear, chasing a hula girl he thought was evidence. You are a disgrace. Mikhail, get this man back to the hospital and increase his sedative. He's clearly lost his mind. Mikhail grinned. Yes, sir, Admiral. Right away. Chapter 3. The Sultan and the Three Princesses. No sooner had Rafati departed than a new crisis arrived. The Admiral sent word that Taratupa was to host a very important person, the Sultan of Marami and his 3 daughters. Binghamton, recovered and desperate to regain his standing, was determined to impress. Everything must be 100%, no riffraff, no Mikhail. He ordered Mikhail and the PT-73 out on a recon mission to a deserted strip of sand called Aku Aku, just to keep them out of sight. But as fate or the script would have it, the Sultan's plane developed engine trouble near Aku Aku. Mikhail was the only one there to rescue them. Your Highness, Mikhail said, bowing as the Sultan and 3 heavily veiled women stepped onto the PT-73. Welcome to the United States Navy. Welcome, I am Karim, the Sultan announced. And these are my most valuable possessions, my daughters. Touch them, and you die. Wowie, wow, wow, whispered Virgil, one of Mikhail's crewmen. Like a chicken, the Sultan snapped. The next man, who debases the dignity of the princesses, will answer to me. The trip back to base was a nightmare of protocol. But back on Taratupa, things went south. Binghamton had organized a grand dinner, but Gruber had a date with one of the princesses, Siri, which involved sneaking her out for a boat ride. To cover for her, the crew dressed up one of their own, Ensign Parker, in a veil and a gown. The dinner was a disaster of epic proportions. Binghamton, trying to be a gracious host, noticed one of the princesses, Parker, had a particularly hairy forearm. You, Binghamton shouted, ripping the veil off. You phony Balinese bunny! You're under arrest. The Sultan stood up, trembling with rage. You dare lay hands on my daughter, or whatever this creature is? This is an outrage. I will raid your Washington. I will tell the State Department. Sir, wait, Mikhail pleaded. It was a security drill. Yes, to test the defenses against impostors. The Sultan didn't buy it. Binghamton was left weeping in the dirt, while Mikhail somehow managed to convince the Sultan that the hairy princess was a rare island tradition intended to ward off bad luck. Chapter 4. Laughing Gas and Heroism. The tension between Binghamton and Parker reached a breaking point. After a particularly clumsy incident involving a PT boat and the captain's personal dock, Binghamton declared he was convening a fitness board. Ah, well, you're finished, Parker. You're done. You're kaput. Binghamton screamed. The crew of the 73 knew they had to act. They needed a miracle. Or, as Mikhail suggested, they needed laughing gas. The dentist just got a shipment of nitrous oxide, Mikhail whispered. If we can get Binghamton into a happy mood, he'll sign anything, even a cancellation of that fitness board. They rigged a tank of the gas to the captain's office window. The gas hissed into the room. Within seconds, Binghamton's scowl began to twitch. A giggle escaped his lips. Then a chortle. Then a full-throated roar of laughter. Parker! Binghamton howled, slapping his knee. Really, sir? Parker asked, sniffing the air. I feel quite funny myself. Suddenly, the air raid sirens wailed. A real Japanese bomber was closing in. The base went into a frenzy. Parker, high on the gas and feeling invincible, wandered out onto the deck. Look at the birdie. Parker laughed, pointing at the descending plane. He stumbled toward a machine gun, tripped, and accidentally pulled the trigger while falling. Rat-tat-tat-tat. The stray bullets clipped the bomber's fuel line. The plane erupted in a spectacular fireball and crashed into the lagoon. By the time the gas wore off and Admiral Shoemaker arrived to oversee the fitness of the officer, he found a heroic Ensign Parker standing over the wreckage, and a Captain Binghamton who couldn't remember why he had been laughing in the first place. Magnificent, Shoemaker declared. An officer who stands laughing in the face of death. Binghamton could